Okay, the Casio's asleep now. The second hand is locked at the 12 position and the display is blank. I had to turn the light on and cover up the watch so the light wouldn't come on the camera and wake it up. But I'm going to turn the lights down a little bit and then uncover it and see if you can see it wake up. Okay, let's turn the lights up a little bit. Okay, it's awake now. We can talk in a normal voice. Hey guys, I'm a Forester here with my very first watch knife review. I'm borrowing this idea from Mr. Dagan007. I hope he doesn't mind. I've enjoyed watching his watch knife reviews and I encourage you to check him out. This Casio wave scepter and its model number WVA M640D1ACR, I'll put that in the description below, but it's the watch that I'll be reviewing today. Of the wristwatches that I own, this Casio is my very favorite. It's not the most expensive, and it doesn't have the best materials, but after this review, I hope you'll understand why it could easily be my favorite watch, and maybe yours one day. Unlike my other watches, this Casio didn't come in a box. In fact, the packaging was so unremarkable that I don't even remember it. I must have thrown it out. It did come with this neat user's guide. About half of this is English, and it's pretty thick. I read every word of it. There's a lot of features to learn, but I'll only go over the main features in this video to cut down on the length. First off, what niche does this Casio fit? It's my inexpensive but extremely accurate everyday carry watch. Now, I already own this Timex Ironman Triathlon, and it serves as my work watch. But I wanted something that was dressier and had a hybrid digital analog movement. The Casio fits the bill perfectly with the hour, minute, second hands plus the digital display. Let me give you a close-up look at that display. I think it's very attractive and very functional. I bought it through Amazon and I paid $160 for it. I've noticed that the price has come down to $130 for it on Amazon today. That's probably a fairer price for it based on the materials that are used. There are three major features that I like on this watch. I've already mentioned the hybrid analog digital display, but it also has a solar energy collector in the face of the watch, so you won't have to replace any batteries. Thirdly, it syncs with the atomic clock daily, so the time is always spot on. It's the most accurate watch that I own. First, let's go over the materials, then on to the operating features. The materials match the price of the watch. They're decent and will stand up to years of use. It has a mineral crystal, and in months of use, I haven't noticed any scratches on it at all. I'll try to give you a close-up of that crystal face. And I don't think you'll see any scratches. Now, as I mentioned, the Casio is solar powered. There are 5 levels of power setting, and you can check on the power status easily by pressing this button right here. You can see that the power is on high right now. In fact, in the whole time that I've owned this watch, it's always been on high. I've never seen it on any other setting. One indication that the power is low, though, is the second hand will begin moving in 2-second increments. And just for your information, 8 minutes of full sunlight will provide enough power to operate the watch for 1 full day. Probably my favorite feature on this Casio is the radio-controlled timekeeping feature. It's the most accurate watch that I own. Every day after midnight, the watch syncs time with the closest atomic clock. It has 6 opportunities per day to sync. It only syncs once per day though. Let's check to see if it's synced today. Now today is the 21st, as it says on the face of the watch. And if we press this button once, and then press this button, it'll switch over to see when it's synced, and it's the 21st, and it's synced at 12:04 a.m., right after midnight. You can also manually sync the watch by holding down this button right here for a couple of seconds. You can tell that it's syncing because the second hand will rotate around to here, and I'll try to show you there's a very small R right there and a W right there. And so if you hold it down for 2 seconds, the second hand goes and points at that R, and that says it's out there searching for the atomic signal, the radio signal. And if it does sync, which it probably won't because I'm moving the watch around, the second hand will move up here to the W and show that it's receiving the signal and syncing. The whole process takes a few minutes. Now, even though this watch syncs daily, it could be off considerably by the end of the day, but that isn't the case for this Casio. I've checked, and it's spot on at the end of the day, down to the very second. I'll run through some of the other features more quickly so I have time to introduce the matching knife. You can look up more information at Casio's website if you want more detail. It has 3 button controls. The top button up here illuminates the watch face, and let me demonstrate that. You won't be able to get the full effect, but you can see that it only has 1 point of illumination down here, and it's really not that effective. That's not a strong point of this watch. The hands and the 5-minute marks have luminescence also, but they aren't very effective either. The button on the bottom right here changes the display. Right now it's in day-date mode, but if you press it once, it changes it to where it reads the seconds. And if you press it again, it changes it to the hour-minute mode. I usually leave it right here where it shows the day and date. The bottom on the bottom left changes the display. Right now it's in the day-date mode, as you can see, but if I press it once, it changes to show the battery status. Press it again and it shows the world time. I've got it set right now for Hong Kong or China time, so right now it's 9:40 p.m. In China where my daughter lives, so that's an easy way I can check on that. Now press it again and it goes to alarm mode. You can have up to 5 daily alarms. I use 3 of them. One is for 5 a.m. as a wake-up alarm. Another is to warn me it's time to leave for work so I'm not late. And another at quitting time. Hey, it's not quitting time till I say it's quitting time. Remember that quote? I think from Gone with the Wind. One criticism of this watch though is that the alarm beep isn't loud enough to wake me up. My Timex was great for that. Okay, press the button again and you get a standard stopwatch. Another press and you get a countdown timer. Let's see an expensive mechanical watch do all that. One criticism of the Casio in general is that they supposedly don't go back to the timekeeping mode with one press of a button, but that isn't the case with this model. At any point I can hold down this button right here for 2 seconds and the digital display will go back to the day-date, like that right there. I've just covered the main features of this watch. I'll say it again, it's my favorite watch. For an inexpensive price, it looks good and keeps great time. The digital features come in handy too. I've been pairing it up with this Boker Plus Elegance. Now I have a detailed review of this knife if you want more detail. I've always loved the look of the knife. The blade shape looks like a scalpel. It has titanium bolsters and polished G10 handle scales. And I love the look of both. It has a push button locking mechanism right here. That's very convenient to use. Now I've used this knife a lot and it really shows. I've broken the pocket clip that fastens right there. I've broken that twice and replaced it once. And also the thumb stud right there is a screw-in type and it fell out and I lost the screw. It was so tiny. I tried to get replacement parts and this is a discontinued model so I really couldn't find the parts. It pairs up well, I think, with the Casio. Both are relatively inexpensive. The Boker Elegance was around $50. Both look good at a distance. and both are made of decent materials. The Boker has 440C stainless steel. I think it's on the blade right there. 440C. It's not premium, and you're not going to get premium materials at these price points. This Casio Wave Scepter and the Boker Plus Elegance are a great working man's combo. They look good, and they function great on a working man's budget. I hope you've enjoyed this first watch knife review. Comment below on this video or if you'd like to see more of this type of review. Y'all take care.